Welcome to our weekly Premier League show. It's lovely to have you here. Today we're going to be going through the FPL changes, what we recommend to transfer, who to transfer in, who to transfer out. We might do some Super Six afterwards. So starting off, here is the breakdown of the next 10 games for most of the top teams. So as you can see, each one of these down the side is each of the teams: Bournemouth, Arsenal, Villa, Brentford, Brighton, whatso. And each of these is the 10 games they've got coming up from game week 4 up to game week 13, which should be their next 10 games. And then they're color coded to show who's got the easiest teams. And then we've ranked which teams sort of have the easiest run coming up. So first up, all right, hey Christian. First up is Liverpool. I think they've got the easiest run. After that is Arsenal in number 2, then Chelsea in 3, Man City in 4, Crystal Palace in 5, Brighton in 6, Spurs in 7, and Villa in 8. And then we've gone down and found sort of the best, sort of the at least three best players in each position or each of the teams. Start off with Liverpool, Arsenal, working our way down the list. So now, if we look at our team, now comes the question. Schlob's like, we'll get to that, Christian. Now comes the question of who do we get rid of? So what are the problem areas? I tend to look at it that way. What's the worst parts that we want to improve rather than like who's the best people we can get in? So problem areas. Kelleher, obviously, he's the backup goalie. There's better options, I think, because I think Brentford's not doing as well as they could be. Defenders-wise, Van Heck, Brighton's underperforming massively. Villa also underperforming. There might be better options. The midfield, Rice is solid, but there's probably some better options, to be fair. He's not going as far forward as I thought he was. Not getting the kind of free kicks and goals I was expecting. Matoma, obviously, Brighton's underperforming. Palmer's injured. And then the last bit's probably the backup strikers, Mark Gui and Obi. Mark Gui is a bit of a problem because there's some suggesting he might end up going to Chelsea, in which case I'll have 4 Chelsea players and we'll have to get him in. We'll have to get him out. They'll sort of force us to use a transfer on him. So, out of all of these, the one that I think is the most obvious to sort of change is Palmer because he's injured. So it makes sense to take him out and get another player in. However, I was thinking, and it was like, I've asked my Chelsea friends, and from what they're hearing, Palmer's probably going to be fit again by the time the Brentford game comes around, because it's like international break or something, isn't it? For the next 2 weeks, so he's got like 2 weeks off. Not sure whether he'll be starting for the Brentford game, but it just, even if he's off for that game, it doesn't make much sense to like, take him out for one game and then the next game I'm going to have to transfer him back in. You end up sort of wasting 2 transfers. So I think even if he ends up missing Brentford, I think I'll risk him riding the bench for one game just so I can use the 2 transfers on other areas. So if it's not him, I think the next area that's probably more desperate is Matoma. Because I'm really sort of hoping on, like, with this way we set up, I'm sort of riding on the midfield doing really well. And Matoma's clearly underperforming. So I think we need to get the midfield like performing to the max. So that begs the question, who should we bring in? Which midfielder to go for? We have, obviously, Matoma's worth 6.4, and I've still kept 3.9 on the bench in the budget, so we have lots of room to sort of navigate. So if we go to the list, like I said, I've broken them all down. Liverpool, we have 2 Liverpool players already. I didn't go for the third because I thought there was a good chance Mark Gay might end up going to Liverpool. From what I'm hearing now from Sky, you probably know because you're watching this later on, but at the current point, we don't know whether I think they got the 2-hour extension to the deal, and he ended up not going because something about they couldn't get another defender in, so it doesn't look like he's going Liverpool. So we do have another Liverpool space to get in. I'm guessing Christian's going to want me to go with Szoboszlai, but I might leave that open, because I might end up wanting to get Van Dijk. His defensive contributions usually are quite good. And I think there's other players I think Szoboszlai's points at the minute are a lot higher than they should be because he scored that incredible free kick last game. But, how many of them is he going to score? Is anyone else going to want to take one? His points are sort of inflated at the minute because of that. So next up, if we're not going for them, we're going for Arsenal. Apart from Saka, I'm not blown away by Arsenal's midfield at the minute, to be honest with you. I don't think they're going to get a massive amount of points of goals and assists. Arsenal's really defensive. They've got great defenders, but they don't get the most amount of points. They don't get the most amount of goals, really, do they? Compared to like the other teams. So the fourth option is Man City. And I think Reinders is a massive shout because he only cost 5.5 at the start. He's already gone up 0.2. And I think his price will go up more, which that will help, get some value in the team. So let's just take Matoma out for now and then look at the options. So obviously Enzo's a good shout, but we've already got 3 Chelsea players. Grealish, Anthony, Paqueta, Colin. I'm pretty sure he's going to be quite high. Dewsbury Hall's a good shout, but Everton, and I don't think they have the best run of games. Well, I want to give him more time. Reinders, there we go. So he's quite high up on the list already. He's got 14 points. I think we might go for him because that gives us even more. Yeah, that increases the budget to 4.6, so it doesn't actually take it down. So we could end up getting another good striker. I think we might be able to get Ekitike at some point, which is, I'm really hoping to get Ekitike. I think, yeah, if it's not Van Dijk, I think I would want Ekitike. He's been doing really great at strike. That really does make the team look a lot stronger, doesn't it? Something else I might end up doing further on is trying to get maybe Van de Ven in, because I think if Spurs continue their good form, that'd be quite good. So Christian here's recommending Sarr, Grealish, Wirtz, all the players to get in. Isaac's here now. Yeah, I'm going to at least pause on Ekitike for a while because I'm not sure how Isaac affects it, whether they will end up playing Ekitike on the left like he can play, or whether they'll end up sharing time. Yeah, and who knows how well Isaac's going to do. He's a great player. He should just kick on straight away, but you never know. Grealish, Everton, I'm a bit, we'll have to see. With them and Spurs, I want to see how their form goes before I start rating them. And Wirtz, from what I've seen in his Liverpool games, he's not sort of making the passes like to a striker and then the striker scores. It seems like he's sort of making key passes, which you don't get points for. You get points for goals and assists. I don't think he's going to get that many assists. I think he's going to be really important for the team, and he's going to be a really important cog, but I don't think he's going to make many of the passes before the goal. I think he's playing a little bit. He's not playing direct enough, I think, for that. So yeah, I think Reinders, because obviously the way City play in that sort of like Bernardo Silva role, they sort of get forward more than the wingers do. When you think of like Grealish and Foden, I think Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne are more assists and goal scorers than the wingers are, really. So it's a very different way of playing, isn't it? Even though it's like not terribly different. They're both playing like 4-3-3. It's just the system's different, isn't it? So yeah, I think Reinders is a good shout, to be honest with you. Like I said, it frees up a lot of points, gives us a lot of options, and he's. We'll have to see how his form goes, but I think he's a solid player. Like I said, City with their current run of games in the next 10 games, they're 4th on our list. They're quite high up. So I'm quite happy with that, to be honest with you. So I think I'm going to make that. Yeah, I think I'm going to confirm that transfer. Christian's telling me to go with Szoboszlai. I'm not surprised, but yeah, I think I'm going to stick with this. And then I think I'll leave picking the team for later because that's sort of less interesting. Now we're going to go through everyone else's teams. So I'm just going to start recording this a bit. We don't have that many to get to, so there's maybe 6 teams that I thought were a bit interesting that we should take a look at. First up is Christian. The only thing I want to say here is he has been raving in the chat about Szoboszlai for like a really long time, and I've been saying, I don't know how well he's going to do, and then he just pulls out that worldie of a free kick, which is just incredible. He hasn't scored the most amount of points, but I just thought I'd give him a shout because how often he's gone on about Szoboszlai. Next up is the 5th one, which is Joel Capado or Defoe FC. And the interesting thing here was the bench. Look at that bench. So he's gone with Alisson Becker, 8 points. Sarr's got 7. Gay's got 15. That's a solid bench. He's gone with Sells over Alisson Becker, which I can't remember who Forest was going up against. Alisson Becker's obviously going up against Arsenal. So, I can understand why you take him out. Crystal Palace. Who were they going up against? I can't remember who Crystal Palace was going up against, but I don't think it was crazy that they got the points. Oh, it was Villa. Yeah, I mean I think Crystal Palace wins that game. Villa have not been doing well at the minute, So yeah, so this would be a great week to bench boost. It's it's disappointing he hasn't. The next one is 12th. Just that he's left Dewsbury Hall on the bench, which I thought, which he's missed out on so many points. Look, like Alanga only got 1, Salah got 3, Gakpo got 3, Richarlison got 2, Wood got 2, and Dewsbury Hall's just sitting on the bench with 12, which is like, that's gutting. Next up is 13.1, which is this fella, and it's Gay, who's sitting on the bench once again. He's got Van der Ven in, who gets 1 point. He's got Stev, who's got 1 point. He's got Konza, who's got 1 point. And Gay's sitting on the bench with 15. Why would you go with Konza over Gay? I think that's absolute madness. I get Van der Ven because they were going up against a shit team, even though they lost. Well, Bournemouth. Yeah, no, why not go for... I guess if Villa and Crystal Palace are both playing each other, it doesn't make sense to go for both. Oh, it's because he's got Watkins up front. That makes sense, because he wants Watkins to score, and he wants Gay to not get many points because he's scoring. But obviously, it happened the wrong way round. Watkins ended up not scoring, and Gay got a bunch of points. Gay ended up scoring. Might be if it wasn't for Schloboslai's goal, I think that's the goal everyone will be talking about. Gay's one was incredible. Next up is 25th, who is that's Mose, and he's put the code you should be able to see at the bottom of the screen for the FPL. He's put that as his team name for some reason, Mose. Yeah, and the interesting thing here was the 2 goalies. He's gone for both Alisson and he's gone for Raya, which I don't know why you'd have 2 top tier goalies. It just doesn't make sense to me. Usually everyone goes, you have one that's like Arsenal, like Raya, someone who's going to, or like Sells, and then the other one is just, fodder, because you don't need 2 great goalkeepers, really. Because how often do goalkeepers tend to play like pretty much every single game, don't they? They very rarely miss one. So you don't need a good one on the bench, really. Unless they get injured, but then you can just transfer them out. So yeah, and he's backed Raya over Alisson, which I think that's dubious, because I think Arsenal haven't been on their best lately, and Liverpool have been absolutely killing it. They've been making great transfers. I get that they do seem a bit weak at the back with the fullbacks, but I don't know. The weird choice. Anyway, moving on. Last one is 27th, which is Obi-Wan Awobi. The only thing I need to say here is that it's strange that he's captained Awobi, which is interesting because he's got Haaland, he's got Watkins, he's got Enzo, he's got Rice, he's got Semenyo, and out of all of them, he chooses to captain Awobi, which I guess because that's the namesake, Obi-Wan Awobi, he's gone for it, but it's still a bit odd if you ask me. Anyway, so that's the FPL done. Next up, we're just going to do a bit of Super 6. So my predictions. First up, we've got Newcastle Wolves. Newcastle haven't been looking great recently. They got rid of Isaac. They've just sold him to... Well, obviously, he's not been playing. They got a new striker in who does look quite good. But they're not looking great. But Wolves are looking absolutely terrible. So I think I'm gonna give it a 2-0 to Wolves. I just think, on average, that's better. Next up, Brighton versus Bournemouth. I was hoping Brighton would do better. They haven't. Bournemouth looked pretty good against Liverpool, to be honest with you. I'm going to give this one 2-1, even though Brighton have been under form, and I still have some faith in them. Although that might end up going the other way around. Next up is Spurs versus West Ham. Spurs looked good up until the last game where they lost. Was it against Brentford? Was it 1-0? But West Ham have looked crap. Absolute rubbish. So I think 3-0, if you ask me. Richarlison's looking really good, to be honest. He's getting ahead of Solanke, which is impressive. Next up is Chelsea. Maybe out of all the teams, the one I like watching the second most, maybe. Like Liverpool, they've been playing some great football. I think Chelsea's maybe the second one. Great, like attacking football, really direct. Even when even when Palmer wasn't playing, they still look so good with Estevez and João Pedro. So I'm going to give it 5-1. I think the problem is they've got Sanchez in goal. And like my Chelsea friends say, he always has like at least one mistake in him. So I don't think he's going to be able to keep a clean sheet. But I think they will batter them. Next up is Liverpool versus Burnley. I think that's pretty easy. Liverpool have been Burnley haven't looked terrible, but they're not great. Liverpool's looked fantastic. I'm going to give that 3-0. I think they're going to batter them. Man City versus Man United. You know, I am a United supporter. I do want them to win, but I just don't think they will. I mean, we've looked crap. We we I had money on us beating, who was it? We just beat Burnley. Yeah, the last game was Burnley. I had money on us beating Burnley. We just about did it. I almost lost because it was like the 97th minute he got the pen or whatever. So I do think City's going to get it. I think there will be lots of goals though, because you know, I think they have the potential to get goals with like Bruno and Cunha. I think the jury's still out on Mbuemo. We'll see about him. So yeah, overall, I think that's what I'm sticking with. Lastly, I'm going to go with my game predictions. Last week, I went with who was it? Chelsea winning against Fulham, which they did, and then the other one was Manchester United beating Burnley, which they did. But just about. I don't think I'm going to bet on. I'm going to put my predictions on Manchester United again because they're just too hazardous at the minute. So the ones I'm going to go for, I have 3 combos. The first one is Liverpool beating Burnley. I've spelled Burnley wrong. I've just noticed that. And Palace versus beating Sunderland. I think those are 2 pretty clear ones. So that as a combo is pretty solid. The next one is Chelsea beating Brentford, Spurs beating West Ham. Once again, I think that's pretty likely to happen. I mean, Spurs could look better, but West Ham looks so rubbish that I think they will get bad. And the last one isn't a win versus loss. It's Everton versus Villa and City versus Man U. Everton versus Villa getting above 1.5 goals, and City Man U collectively, these are getting above 2.5 goals. I think they're pretty solid, and I'm pretty happy with them. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and come back next week for our Premier League show. See you now.